This is WKYT This Morning.
Happy Thursday to you, and good morning. I'm Michelle Chamberlain.
And I'm Bill Bryant, and we're so glad you're with us on WKYT This Morning, Thursday, April 21st. The weekend is in sight.
Yes. Now at 6 o'clock, a Lexington family is working to salvage what they can after their home was damaged in an overnight fire.
Also this morning, we're tracking a crime alert after what police say may have been a drive-by shooting.
And the battle between two top elected Kentucky politicians will play out today in a Franklin County courtroom.
We have some rain on the way for today. It's not a lot, but it's still in the forecast. And temperatures this morning, because of the cloud cover, well, look at that. We're at 70 degrees in Richmond. It's a nice feeling day. We'll go over that forecast. I'll show you who can expect the rain and who will not see it coming up.
All right, see you in just a bit. Let's get to the news.
New on WKYT this morning, the Red Cross is helping a Lexington family who lost their home in an overnight fire.
Several crews were on scene for hours overnight on Price Road. That's near the Lexington Cemetery. Nobody was hurt, but the family says they've lost something that they cannot replace. WKYT's Caitlin Sentner is there live this morning with our details. Caitlin?
Good morning, Bill. The Red Cross is helping a family of 5 displaced after a late night fire. Fire crews say knowing that each family member made it out of the home okay took some concern off of their minds. Now, Lexington Fire Department says the fire was very much active when they arrived in the 400 block of Price Road around 11:45 Wednesday night. We're told when first responders got here, the fire was pushing out the side of the home and lapping up the second floor. The aftermath left the back of the home and much of the upstairs destroyed. A neighbor told authorities sparks were seen coming from a boiler, but an official cause hasn't been determined by investigators just yet. The Lexington Fire Department says its attack on the fire was slowed by a complication.
We did have a little bit of problem. The way the electric comes into the house, it kind of slowed down our fire attack. Where it connected, we had to wait for KU to disconnect it from the pole, but we got the fire knocked down. We're waiting for the investigator to take a look at it as soon as we get done monitoring.
4 of the 5 family members were home at the time of the fire. We are told they are all okay, luckily. Unfortunately, we're told the family dog is still missing. Live in Lexington, Caitlin Sentner, WKYT.
All right, Caitlin, thank you very much. New on WKYT this morning, we have learned that a man was shot and killed overnight in Powell County, and state police say it happened on Cow Creek Road in Stanton. They say that 39-year-old Stephen Strange confronted a woman in her home. Police say that woman, Melissa Roberts, shot Strange in the chest with a 12-gauge shotgun. Strange died at the scene. State police are still investigating the circumstances that led up to the shooting. At this time, no charges have been filed.
In Nicholas County, a man was shot several times in what police say may have been a drive-by shooting. It happened last night on Gravel Road near Route 36 in Moorfield. Police say the victim was shot several times at his house. They say he's expected to survive. No arrests have been made. Today, a man will be sentenced in a Pulaski County murder for hire case. Police say Jordan Nicholas tried to hire someone to murder a man who he thought was an informant. But the man he wanted to hire was an undercover officer. Nicholas will be sentenced today.
Kentucky lawmakers have passed a state budget, but a battle over immediate education cuts continues. Attorney General Andy Beshear is suing Governor Matt Bevin over cuts made to public colleges and universities. And today that case will go before a judge. WKYT's Mark Barber is in Frankfort for us now to break down what will be happening today. Mark.
The Attorney General filed his lawsuit against the governor 10 days ago, saying that his cuts to education were illegal. Governor Matt Bevin dismissed those claims and asked the judge to dismiss the lawsuit as well. Attorneys for both sides will argue their legal footing before a judge in 4 hours when they meet for a case review. The legal battle started a couple weeks ago when Bevin bypassed the legislature, ordering a 4.5% spending cut for public colleges and universities for the next 3 months. He said that the cuts were needed because the state is overwhelmed with pension debt. Attorney General Andy Beshear responded by suing Bevin, saying Bevin did not legally have the power to order those cuts. Then this week, Bevin reduced those education cuts from 4.5% to 2%. He decided to restore some of the funds after he met with education leaders and heard their concerns. Since Kentucky State University is struggling financially, they were given special consideration, and they are no longer seeing any spending cuts. Now, while Bevin has backed off those spending cuts somewhat, Bashir has not backed off his lawsuit. The case will go to court for the first time at 10 this morning in the Franklin County Circuit Court. In Frankfort, Mark Barber, WKYT.
And the governor's legal team is expected to ask the judge to drop that lawsuit this morning. Well, Governor Bevin has issued an executive order that removes the chairman of the Kentucky Retirement System's Board of Trustees. Former Governor Steve Bashir had reappointed Thomas Elliott to the board last year, and his term was not set to expire until 2019. But the board was expected to re-elect Elliott as its chair during a scheduled meeting today. The KRS executive director says the governor does not have the authority to remove Elliott.
The state transportation cabinet plans to make changes to a deadly stretch of a Scott County road. The state will spend $2.5 million to straighten out a dangerous curve on Stamping Ground Road. Trevor Spencer and his 3-year-old son Skylar, along with Corey Wilcoxon, died in a crash at that spot in October 2014. Now, Spencer's fiance and his father have been fighting for the change ever since.
The shock still hasn't wore off. His father and I haven't even begun to grieve. Kind of just threw ourselves in this project.
Now, in 2015, a man died in a crash there just days after the state installed signs to warn drivers about the curve. The changes are expected to be complete by 2019.
Our time this morning is 6 minutes after 6 on WKYT, and 2 people are facing charges this morning. They're accused of breaking into a Nicholasville home. The Jessamine County Sheriff's Office says the victim was home when Justin Burcham forced his way through the back door. The sheriff says Burcham wasn't expecting anyone to be there and ended up leaving without taking anything. He is charged with burglary, and Patricia Cash was also arrested because the sheriff says she was waiting for Burcham outside in a car. This morning, Somerset police are needing help in identifying a pair of theft suspects. Police say this man and woman stole more than $500 from a local convenience store. If you have information, police say you can submit it to them anonymously.
A Clay County man faces charges for mooning police. Investigators say Clinton Sizemore Jr. stopped in the road next to the Manchester Police Department. He then pulled down his pants and patted his backside. According to a police citation, he also made an obscene hand gesture before jumping back in his truck and driving off. He is charged with indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, and reckless driving.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Patted his backside. That's one way to put it, I guess. Interesting story there. First Alert Defender Radar Network. Here is your look outside. Couple of sprinkles here and there, but other than that, it's just cloudy. That's it. And it feels really good outside because of the clouds and also the winds that come in from the south. That's helping us out big time. The rain's still back toward the west, the bulk of it. And remember, this is no washout today. You're going to get spotty showers, a couple of rumbles of thunder. It's at 40%. So that means 60% of us will be dry, okay? So just keep in mind, yes, you have a rain chance, but it's not a slam dunk today. 75 degrees by the afternoon. We've had 4 consecutive days of 80 degrees plus. We haven't done that in April since 2010. I mean, it's been a long, long time. And so it looks like we're going to stay below 80 degrees. We could reach it if you get some sunshine, but for the most part, I believe we sit with cloudy skies. And there is a rain chance through the morning and through the afternoon and off into the night, too. So it's kind of all-day chance of rain, but still a relatively small chance of rain. Now, let's take you off into Friday, hour by hour. And here's the morning hours at 7 a.m., waking up tomorrow morning at this time. You're going to see a couple of showers here and there, maybe even a rumble of thunder as we go through the day. And look at that filter on in as we approach the afternoon. There's 1 p.m. and here comes that moisture coming in from the north. That's that wraparound moisture. Remember, during the winter, wraparound moisture means snow. During this time of year, wraparound moisture just means some rain. And that's that system moving eastbound as it tracks north of us. And go off towards 6 p.m., we still have a couple of showers here and there. You can see it's not a washout. There's not a lot of rain with these 2 days, but you will get about a ½ inch of rain if you do pick up on some rain. And that's beneficial rain to the yards. None of this is going to be severe weather, and none of this any flooding concerns or anything like that. It's just some beneficial rain. Saturday morning, 5Ks, any events going on Saturday, picture perfect. Look at this weather model. Look at what it's showing on 5 p.m. for the high on Saturday. Some of these are picking up on 60s outside. I mean, this is a really, really nice feel coming for this weekend, which upper 60s is actually average for this time of year. Check out these pictures. How cool are these? Now, this is from Scott Feltner, and a really, really awesome shot. That's down towards Somerset, and that was yesterday. Really cool shot right there from Scott. And then one really awesome shot. This is actually Phil Page from Klingman's Dome, and what a shot there. That's a good vantage point right there for storms rolling through, or just a nice sunset. So Phil, Scott, guys, we appreciate it very much. Twitter pics of the day. Remember, if you have your phone in your hand or beside you, jump on it. You can follow me at Micah Harris WX and send me pictures. I love showing them off.
You come to know the names of these photographers.
Right.
I mean,
always
some are just awesome.
so good. Yeah,
is
so
Johnny
good.
Nicholson is one.
Yeah,
He
always
so
sends me
many.
some too. Yeah,
good
you're exactly
He just
right.
liked a tweet of mine this morning.
That's
What's
right.
going on the news? So he's up and at it,
there you go.
as so many of you are. And it's so good to have you with us this morning at 6:10. And every morning right here, we bring you weather and traffic together. Let's go out and check out Officer Don and see what's happening on the roads. Good morning, Don.
Good morning. Well, no wrecks on the circle, and the interstate still looks okay. 75 coming in from Scott County is a straight shot, and so is 64. Let's get a look outside, and we'll show you what to expect as you plan to head out the door this morning. Inbound Nicholasville Road still looks great on the north side. North Broadway, one cycle of the light through that big intersection, and the circle itself between Winchester and North Broadway looks okay too. Drive times 12 minutes from Nicholasville, 11 from Versailles, and Paris looks like about 19 minutes via Paris Pike to Lexington. Now back to you in the studio.
All right, Don, thank you so much. 6:11 is the time. Here we are, still bright and early on your Thursday,
here.
and we're glad you're with us. More news on the way.
She's one of the most popular female professional wrestlers in history. What we're learning about China's death in 3 minutes.
The 2016 presidential contenders continue to campaign in 5 states holding critical primaries next week. I'm Hannah Daniels in New York with the latest on their paths to the White House.
Kentucky mornings start here. You're watching WKYT This Morning.
Welcome back to WKYT This Morning. Your time is 6:15. The wrestling world is waking up this morning to learn that former WWE star Chyna has died.
Chyna, whose real name was Joanne Laurer, was found dead yesterday in Redondo Beach, California. She was 45 years old. Chyna was one of the best known and most popular female professional wrestlers in history. She often wrestled against men and at one point was the WWE Women's Champion. Police have not said what caused her death, but TMZ is reporting that Chyna died from a suspected overdose.
Prosecutors say more criminal charges are likely to come in Flint, Michigan's water crisis. The state's attorney general announced charges against 2 state regulators and a city employee yesterday. Now, he blames Flint's lead-tainted water on a series of bad decisions by bureaucrats and political leaders.
This morning, the 2016 presidential contenders are looking forward to the 5 states holding critical primaries next week. Republican frontrunner Donald Trump is promising to be more presidential, and Democrat Hillary Clinton is calling out her Republican rivals. Here's where the candidates stand in their race for the delegates this morning. Trump has 845 delegates. He needs just about 400 or so more now to clinch the Republican nomination. Clinton leads her Democratic rival by more than 700 delegates, and Hannah Daniels has the latest now on Campaign 2016.
After delivering a toned-down victory speech in New York, Donald Trump returned to his outspoken rhetoric in Maryland Wednesday night.
We got lying Ted, we have crooked Hillary. I won't go over the others because they're now defeated.
Just 393 delegates shy of clinching the GOP nomination, Trump has vowed to become more presidential.
We had a really, really good day in New York yesterday.
After scoring a decisive win over Bernie Sanders in New York, Democrat Hillary Clinton campaigned in Pennsylvania, saving her toughest jabs for her Republican rivals.
When I hear Donald Trump and Ted Cruz talk about international issues, I mean, what they say is not only offensive, it's downright dangerous.
Going forward, the Vermont senator would need to win 73% of the remaining delegates to capture the Democratic nomination. Hannah Daniels, CBS News, New York.
And GOP leaders are meeting in Florida today to discuss the party's nominating process. It will be their final meeting before the Republican convention in July, and Kentucky Republicans hold their state convention in Lexington this Saturday.
The time is 6:18. Can you spot me a Tubman? The U.S. Treasury has decided that Harriet Tubman, an African-American born into slavery, will be the new face on the $20 bill. But what about changing our change? The Wall Street Journal reports Jack Lew recommended to President Obama last year that the U.S. should suspend production of the penny. Lew made no mention of the copper-colored coin when he introduced the new face of the 20. Tech companies dominate a new list of Americans' best-paying employers, taking 20 of the top 25 spots. The median worker at Google, Facebook, and Twitter all make over $150,000 a year, according to the study from Glassdoor. But the top-paying company is a consulting firm, A.T. Kearney. After 10 years on the market, Microsoft is pulling the plug on the Xbox 360. The video game console has been played for a total of 78 billion hours. Existing units will be sold while supplies last, and players can still use Xbox Live. And there's a new way to use your hoverboard. Boats to Go is offering the hoverboard cart for $69. It allows you to hover on 4 wheels instead of 2. The beach chair, sadly enough, is not included. I want one of these things, Bill.
You'd like
How
to have
cool would
one
that
of those,
be?
huh?
Yeah.
That'd be all right.
Wonder if you have to have a license, though.
I don't know, maybe a seatbelt would be a good idea.
That's very true.
6:19 the time on WKYT this morning. Hey, we're so glad you're with us this morning as we get this Thursday started. A battle with bulldozers in the streets. What led up to this insane video? That's coming up after weather in about 6 minutes.
We have the rain back toward the west. It is on its way. Not so much for today, but tomorrow it looks like the better opportunity. Both days still with the rain chance. We're going to go over that forecast coming up.
Hey, good morning. Time to rise and shine on your Thursday, getting ever closer to that weekend now, and it is coming up on 6:24.
A family's dog is missing after their home was badly damaged in an overnight fire.
And that's what's trending at this hour. That fire started around midnight on Price Road near the Lexington Cemetery. 4 people inside the home did get out safely. Firefighters are still investigating the cause right now.
State police say a woman shot and killed a man last night on Cow Creek Road in Stanton. They say 39-year-old Stephen Strange was shot in the chest after confronting the woman in her home. The investigation continues.
And a chance of rain here and there today. Micah says no washout. Let's check in with him.
Yeah, and that's going to be the case as we go through today and tomorrow. None of us, we're not going to see everybody have that chance of rain, okay? It's just about 40% today, 60% for tomorrow. As you can see, it is not a potent system. It is not a very impressive system, only showers with it right now. Maybe a few rumbles of thunder mixed in here and there, but no severe weather expected. Temperatures are in the 60s for the most part as you walk out the door. Go off toward Irvin. Go into Berea, Big Hill region, go down 421 all the way to Jackson. I mean, that area right there, right around 70 degrees this morning. It's a fantastic feel as you walk out the door. This may be drop the top type of morning there with those convertibles. Roll down the windows, turn the radio up, man. It should be an awesome drive into work. We go through the day, 72 degrees, guys, breezy conditions, maybe a couple of rumbles toward the afternoon. But like I said, no washout today or tomorrow, but those are your better chances of rain.
Okay, and you know, we need a little rain here and there,
Yes,
so
do.
that'll be good. 6:25 is our time this morning. It was too good to be true. McDonald's is squashing reports that it is testing all-you-can-eat fries.
No, this is terrible news. Instead, Mickey D says endless spuds will be available for a limited time, only to promote the grand opening of a store in Missouri. The restaurant will be unique because customers will be able to place their orders at digital kiosks and customize their burgers. But patrons will eventually have to pay for all of the fries they eat.
All right,
Sad
so
news
it's
for a
just
lot of fans out there.
One big story that was going around.
So the first rule about Bulldozer Fight Club is you must talk about Bulldozer Fight Club.
Right, so check out this video of the rival construction companies in China having an all-out demolition derby with their bulldozers. The battle took place right on a busy street. Police say it started with an argument between companies who are competing for business, and they just had a throwdown there with those
It's
big
like
bulldozers.
real-life Transformers.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
Right on the street there. Well, it's good to have you with us here on this Thursday morning, and all of our top stories are coming up on WKYT.
Yeah, when we return, state police talk about accusations that a school board chairman cheated. on his GED.
Friday night's Mega Millions jackpot is $97 million, and Saturday night's Powerball jackpot is $251 million. Kentucky mornings start right here on WKYT.